Good evening and welcome to our 9 p.m. English News brought to you live by RTD. My name is Anna Farah. Rally Party for Progress meeting citizens. The leader of the party takes part to the citizen meeting. IMF Ethiopian World Bank. Ethiopia signed 1.3 billion World Bank deal shortly after IMF praise. At approximately 5 months for upcoming legislative election that will lead to the renewal of all members of parliament election to be held during the first quarter of 2018 New Year, the Rally Party for Progress party held seated under the theme of citizen encounters. During 2 days, the members of the Central Committee of the country's main political party and the activists discussed several issues related to the further of movement and its regeneration with the new ideas and new programs, men and women who safeguarded the achievement and takes up the torch. In addition to the fundamental themes of the party, national unity, social cohesion, peace, and equal among fellow citizens, the participant of this meeting tries to reach a general consensus on the challenge of tomorrow, progress and economic development, the education and training of human resources, which are the basic all development, the confidence and the new political leaders. The political class is regenerated after 40 years of power. The party leader wants to learn from the experience and other political parties that have lost confidence of their constituency because of common ideas such as problem environment, good governance, equitable discussion of wealth. For example, the Rally Party for Progress does not want to suffer from the fate of the French Socialist Party, which has experienced its recent months seriously disappointed. According to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, party the RPP must remain frozen. It must prevent the new ideas on all themes. It must meet the challenge of modern times. Now, the Secretary General of the party, Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dawale, who took the floor, exposed and explained the prerogative of the party, which is expected to be accomplished in terms of development. He then quoted the GDR growing, which according to the latest economic forecast, double passing from $600 million to $3 billion US. He said continue his tour to the country is heading to sustainable development, and even through the economical context of the world is still brewing. The head of the state and the chairman of the party, RPP, did not hesitate to discuss directly with the militant and sympathizers who did not integrate up the party time. The president part was arrested on several subjects. He patiently answered all the questions, asking the president his vision. He gave his point of view to allow the political formation to reintegrate itself and succeed by convincing many skeptics. The head of the party, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, in his speech reminded to the Crown President at the People's Palace the very inception of the Rally Party for Progress and its primary objective. More detail in his speech. Listen to the President, please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Maanta waxaan isku wareeyay imtixaan baan aniga laga qaaday horta.
In the first part of his speech, the President, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, returned to the genesis and the beginning of the establishment in 1979, 2 years after independence, under the leadership of the late Hassan Guled Abtidon, and subsequently joined by Mr. Barkhat Gurad Hamadou. At the beginning of its inception, the main objective of the Rally Party for Progress was to consolidate national unity and the harmony between the different communities. The party that elected me, and which will always be mine, was created by the people who work for independence and who believe in this independence. This is the work of the late President Hassan Guled, and was assisted by Barkhat Guled Hamadou and many others whom I cannot mention here. The first challenge of this political formation was to achieve national unity. This formation itself gathered with different parties and movements from all sides with a common objective. That was the independence of the country. It is in this spirit that the Rally Party for Progress, known under the banners of RPP, gathered within all the political currents based on the idea of consolidations of national unity that has foiled many conspiracies to undermine the national unity. The RPP has never known any tribal cooperation, and it is for this reason that it has remained and always remain the beginning at the forefront party that saved the nation from every danger or conspiracy of any kind. His motto remained as yesterday, that of peace by the matters of social cohesion.
Of his speech, the president of the party spoke of the need to strengthen the formation of the RPP with the addition of the young people and the contribution of all layers of the civil society. More information in his speech. Listen to the president, please.
حزبك يعني برنامج كيس هرو مركز إلى لنتيس
In the second part of its speech, the president of the party mentioned the need to strengthen the Rally Party for Progress by bringing young people into it and the contribution of all the different layers of the civil society. It must be said that the party is very much involved in the promotion of education and the development of the country, but especially involved in young generations. In the young generation, consequently, it makes sense that these people care about the life of the party, which they must strengthen according to their abilities. After this brief historical overview, I would now like to address a question that concerns younger generations. It is true that our country lacks of intellectual, but this is an asset. I would only like to tell the latter that they are the fruit of what this country has sown their statue. Today they owe it to this country, and in this they are indebted to it. These intellectuals on all sides must therefore conceive a little of their time for any actions in favor of the society. If I came back to our political party, I would simply say that being a leader of a political party is an important responsibility that requires a lot of abnegations and tolerance. One must be tolerant for the simple reason that leaders are above all those who bring together people. I regret to point out here that these kinds of militants and politicians are not allegiant today. Why we must, our days of reflection, choose the best of us to the positions of responsibility in the party. Now we are gathered for days of reflections for the simple reason that this 21st century brings tremendous changes in our behavior under the influence of new technologies. To avoid any intergenerational breaks, we must dialogue in order to understand ourselves, both old and new ones. With our discussions, the party become modernized, adapt, and integrate itself into the 21st century. If this would not be a key moment for the future of the party, in which would not go beyond and could not respond to the way of thinking of this age and to a large number of the population, including this new generation. This new generations imbued with knowledge must arm themselves for the love of their country and the duty of serving their nation, otherwise their knowledge would have no meaning.
The General Director of International Organization for the Migrants, IOM, Ambassador William Swing, has arrived this morning in Djibouti for a walking visit of 2 days. The Director General of IOM were upholded in the light rain to International Airport of Djibouti by the Minister of Interior, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohammed, accompanied by the Director General of the National Police, Colonel Abdullahi Abdi Farah, the Executive Secretary of Honor, Mr. Hussein Hassan Darar, the respective of Mrs. Lenini Barsami, the official immigration of the coordinator's resident of United Nations, after a short break of the VIP airport executive. The leaders have exchanged the different essential parts of the migration. Still on the national news, the ambassador of Djibouti in Turkey, Mr. Aden Hussein Abdullahi, was received on 20 September 2017 by the Turkish Minister of Finance, Nalag Akbal, who co-chaired the Joint Commission for Economic Cooperation, Technical and Commercial Djibouti-Turkey. This meeting is part of the framework of the consolidation and enlargement, and also in order to work more to the strengthening of ties, fraternity and solidarity, which combine since always the two countries. The political dialogue become the two countries, which will held shortly in Djibouti the 2nd October 2017. The next official meeting, as well as the meeting the businessman Djibouti Turkish, will take place in Djibouti during the first week of October and have been on the menu for the discussion between the ambassador of Djibouti in Ankara at Turkish and the Minister of Finance of Turkish. And now the regional news. The International Monetary Fund has praised Ethiopian economic strides for the year 2016-2017, but also has urged that reform be undertaken to improve the business climate. Saeed Mohammed has more detail.
Ethiopia has entered a $1.3 billion deal with the World Bank to improve governance and fund proper policies in regions worst hit by a drought and food shortage. The global lender on Friday announced that it has signed a loan and grant agreement of a total amount of $7 million would be used to improve equitable access to basic service and strengthen accountability in education, health, agriculture and other sectors. The remaining $600 million was a grant to finance the East African country Rural Productive Safety Net scheme, which is handing out cash or food to 8 million people in exchange for participation in public development projects. The latest development comes on the heel of International Monetary Fund praise and caution for Addis Ababa after a team visited the countries between the 13th and 26th September of this year. The IMF in a statement praised Ethiopia's economic stride for the years 2016-17, but also urged that reforms be undertaken to improve the business climate. Ethiopia has reported needing urgent humanitarian assistance for about 8.5 million people who are affected by a severe drought. The drought is one that has affected the entire region. Somalia and Kenya both declared famine and natural disaster in particular regions.
Major headlines from the international scene now. The U.S. State Department, responding to a series of mysterious attacks on diplomats in Havana, warns Americans on Friday against traveling to Cuba and ordered more than half of its diplomat personnel to leave the island. More detail, please watch this video.
The United States has cut its diplomatic presence in Cuba by more than half over mysterious attacks that have caused hearing losses, dizziness and fatigue among embassy staff there. Washington said 21 employees have been affected and that until Cuban authorities can ensure U.S. diplomatic safety, the embassy would be reduced to emergency personnel. President Trump had already vowed to partially roll back the U.S. rapprochement with Havana agreed by its predecessor Barack Obama. The U.S. Embassy there will not halt regular visa operation for Cubans seeking to visit the United States. Havana denied any role in what were initially reported as sonic attacks. Cuba Foreign Ministry Chief for U.S. Affairs Josefina Vidal said Washington has warned Americans against visiting the Caribbean island, a move that will likely hurt many Cubans working in hospitality.
That's all for this evening news. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a wonderful evening.